I am Shannon Rutherford. I'm the town planner for Farmington. This is the Town Plan and Zoning Commission meeting. I will start with roll call of the commission members. Matthew Bandel.
Here.
Robert Canto.
Here.
Rosia Afshar. Present. David St. Germain.
Here.
Scott Halstead.
Here.
I will note for the record that Liz Sanford is absent this evening, and our alternates this evening, we have Bruce Polsky,
Here.
Mike Tucci.
Here.
And Kyla Zimmerman. Kyla is absent at the moment.
Okay. Thanks, Shannon. Appreciate that. Welcome, everybody, to the June 10th Town Plan and Zoning Commission meeting. A couple pieces of business to start with. Mike Tucci, are you okay with filling in for Liz Sanford tonight?
Yes, I am.
Great, thank you. And then for anybody that might be online, there is no public hearing for the Farmington West Estates tonight. We're simply going to be continuing that to the June 24th meeting. So that'll be just simply a procedural item on the agenda this evening. All right, so let's jump right into our new business. Our first application is Russell Speeders Car Wash of Connecticut LLC for Wanamassa Lane, site plan approval for site improvements to existing car wash operation.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. TC Nallis and Matt Bruggeman here with Russell Speeders Car Wash. We also have our consultant on as well, Phil Henry with Civil Design Consultants. We are redeveloping a car wash property at 4 Wanamassa Lane, existing waterworks. We propose to, we intend to use the same operation of the car wash site. However, we are doing minor rehab to the development, including pay station addition, a change and increase in vacuums that align with our brand. We're also including some building facade enhancements, and we are also doing some minor pavement reconstruction or milling, if you will, along with some signage. Now, if you have the plan pulled up.
Yes.
So go ahead.
The site plan is on the screen.
So if you see, as part of the redevelopment, we propose no demolition to like the primary structure of the building. The existing building today, however, you can't see an elevation of it. It consists of 3 like self-wash bays to the right there, 1 in-bay automatic, and then the main tunnel, and in between the in-bay and main tunnel is like for storage and office space. We are proposing to keep the main tunnel. We are not lengthening or decreasing it. The existing 3 open self-wash bays, we are to keep 2 of those open, but we are no longer using the self-service equipment. We'll be gutting those bays out. The last 2 bays we'll use as a pass-through for customers entering and exiting after they've come out of the main tunnel wash to utilize the vacuums in the rear of the property. And then the 3rd self-service that we'll be gutting and no longer using, that will turn into storage space. And next to that is a in-bay automatic. We will also gut that, and it'll be no longer in use. It'll be used for storage as well. But the extent of the project is minor, if you will. Essentially, it'll remain a car wash operation is what it was and what we'll propose today. And I guess I'll take it to the floor. If you have any questions, we can bring in Phil and kind of work out the site plan that way.
Okay, well, thank you for the information. Let me pass it along to the commissioners for questions. Matt?
No questions.
Bob?
I know there was some discussion on the vacuum systems.
Yes.
Right. Where are those going?
So currently they have, I don't know if you can zoom in there at the bottom left. Yes. So this doesn't show the existing in the background. It may be more beneficial to go to possibly a cover sheet.
or the survey.
Yeah, survey or the cover sheet will kind of show like an overlay with the aerial. Keep going up. Yeah. So there exists existing two motor canister style vacs. We will propose to remove those canister style vacs, and we'll propose a it's like a 3-motor single vac boom canister style that has an arch to it with a hose on each side of the boom. So the prior discussions with town planning is that the existing vacs themselves, not necessarily them being that they're a 2-motor, but that they produce kind of like whatever existing decibel range they have today. The proposed 3-motor vac style has a slightly higher range, but we have, not on this project, but on Scott Swamp, we have proposed the alternative to switching those. They're like individual motored styled canisters with more of a central vac system, which would house a single turbine on a pad. And we could relocate that, further to the north of those row of parking spaces. That way that would push that emanating source of decibels further north of the row. And you wouldn't have the source of decibels emanating from the canister itself, which for the southern canister is where one of the sources would start, and then each canister would have its own source of sound emanating from it.
So is that what you're proposing, is doing a central vac system?
The ones in the rear would not be central vac. That was the initial proposal. The ones at the front, unless, there was like a positive discussion about decibels and how they relate to the homes to the south, would not be changed on Wanamassa, but we do have that option to do that here, if we need to, and if it's a concern, for the front row.
Okay. Do we know what the decibel level is?
For the single turbine on a pad at 10 feet, the manufacturer spec'd a 68 decibels.
Okay. That's at 10 feet.
10
And what-
feet, yep.
What's the central vac system? Do we know that?
That would be for the central vac. So you'd only have, the source would only be coming from the turbine itself, not
So
from
what-
the canisters.
So what about these canisters? What's the decibel level on those?
I'm trying to pull that up now. Give me 1 second. So is this 10-2? It was, so at 10 feet, the new style. 64, I believe.
So
So you
I
said
could-
64?
Yeah, Phil.
yeah, I could provide some color to this. This is Phil Henry with Civil Design Group. On this site, you could see that the vacuums are close to the front property line. So what we did, so admittedly, we were kind of racking our brain as to how, because we had a conversation with staff as they wanted to see decibel readings for ambient, existing vacs, and then proposed vacs. So we were able to get ambient and existing vac information, but the proposed vac information has proven to be a bit challenging. And we hope that we're trying to project what we think in an accurate fashion the proposed decibel readings would be. So in an effort to get readings here, what we did was we took noise level readings along the front property line at 5 different locations for ambient noise level. So this is existing condition with no vacs off. We on average we got 48 noise level for the existing ambient noise with no vacs on. With vacs on, that jumped to 68 decibels at those same locations. So in order to project what the new vax would be, what we actually did is we sent an operations manager with a noise, with the same ambient noise reader or noise reader, if you will, to a nearby site in Waterbury that recently just installed the exact vacuums that we're proposing here. However, those we've actually the operations manager bought what they call like a reducing kit, which is additional foam and mitigation measures to put on the canisters to muzzle the vacuum itself. And those readings at 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50 feet were 80, 73, 68, 64, and 63 respectively.
Mhm.
So I understand we're throwing a lot of numbers at you, but we're trying to be as transparent as we can and trying to get as much good information as we can. So if you take a step back, on average, it's in that 68 range of what the decibel reading with new vax would be if you average those five locations.
Right, okay. And Shannon, correct me if I'm wrong, but I read it's 80 decibels is our max.
Our town ordinance, no, it's 56.
It's 56.
Yeah.
I don't know where I just.
So from a business, so noise ordinance. Which means potentially the existing facilities are exceeding their existing non-conforming or
Non-conform, right.
but so you've got property emitter, so business emitter adjacent to residential would be 56 during the day,
And
51 at
51
night. And there's a definition of above of night, which I think starts at 9 p.m.
Right.
So
Okay. When you went out to that Waterbury site with the buffing mitigation, did you take decibel levels over there? How much did it improve?
As far as I know, we didn't take non-reducing kit numbers because we just installed the kit on these existing vacs. Is that correct, TC?
No, they have existing ones, but there was reductions of like, I think it was 3 or 4 decibels, something like that.
Okay.
Okay, I'll leave it at that for now.
Roja?
No questions for me. Commissioner Canto addressed my concerns.
Okay, thank you. Dave?
So I've got actually going back to decibels, you're actually increasing the number of vacuums from 6 to 10, is that right?
We're maintaining 6 vacuum spaces along the front, but yeah, we are adding 4 vacuum spaces along the back. I think there may have been vacs back there at one point in the past, but yeah, we're adding. There'll be a total of 6 + 4 vacs, 10 total vacs.
All right. And I guess I'm having trouble understanding. We really can't know what the decibel level would be on a newly installed vacs. There's no way of knowing that beforehand. They don't come, that's not a spec.
Well, it is spec'd, but as you would imagine, all the noise level readings that the manufacturer projects doesn't include ambient noise, because ambient noise is different in every scenario. So it seems like because these existing vacs are older and have aged, it looks like the newer age vacs, while they're probably more efficient and they don't need to be on as long, people don't need to have the vacuum on as long to vacuum, they are a bit louder because of the motor efficiencies in them. So, but with that being said, on this particular site, because because the study area was within, 10 to 50 feet, Waterbury has that same scenario. So the numbers that I had just given you, ranging from 80 down to 63 or something, are actual readings in Waterbury, including ambient noise.
Is there anything else that can be done? It says that we were looking into other noise attenuating options. Is there anything else that could be looked into?
Well, this includes the sound reducer kits installed on them, so they don't come standard on. So we would be committing to putting these on there to start. Alternatively, as TC had indicated, we would forego the individual vacuums at the 6 front locations and go to a central vac, for which the turbine would be located rear of the 6th vac, of the last vac in that row.
Mhm.
And that could be an alternative.
Another question is, in terms of times that you're operating, I noticed in one spot I saw 8 to 8 listed somewhere. And a lot of our other documents is 8 to 6. Can you just clarify that?
TC, do you want to take
Yeah, I
that?
was trying to bring up the letter. Yes, so from what I'm aware of, the Wanamassa property currently has operating hours Monday to Sunday, 8 to 6.
Okay, that wouldn't be changing?
Correct.
Okay, I had seen it written 8 to 8 on one of the pieces of correspondence, so I just wanted to clarify.
Anything else, Dave?
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mike?
So just to clarify, you're removing the self-serve like hosed bays or the automatic drive-through one?
Yes.
Yes, so the 3 self-serve that are there now, so you can see there's 2 directional arrows. Each directional arrow is in a single bay, and then there's a third one you don't see to the left. Those will, all the equipment and then like the pressure washing equipment, what have you, that will just all be gutted out. So it'll just be one clear bay. The last 2 will be completely open for pass through for the customers to get to the rear for the rear vacs. But the third one will be closed up with probably a roll-up door on either end, and turned into storage and for this site.
No further questions.
All right, Bruce?
Gentlemen, change topic. I understand you're using hydrodynamic separators to clean the water before it goes back into the Farmington River. That's a very good thing. But I guess my question is, what are you going to do with all the sludge you collect?
So I believe currently they have like a maintenance entity that comes out and then sucks out, routinely, sludge in call it the reclaim or the water separator tanks.
So you have a service contract with whoever you're purchasing these pieces of equipment from to maintain them and take away the, whatever it's called, effluent or whatever?
In a hydrodynamic separator, I'm not aware of. For that, we could certainly set something up with a local vendor to do that, but typically that's how that's done. I think it's routine every once or twice a month that they would come out and remove or suck out these things from the tanks.
Okay, as long as it's not being disposed of in, in normal trash.
No,
No.
You keep in mind, this is an existing wash station. So all that goes to the sewer through like, I'll call it glorified septic tanks. They're oil grit separators that separate oil and grit from the water. So on however, monthly or every 3 months, all that stuff gets, all the solids get sucked out through a maintenance contract. So, but no, that water does not get into the drainage system. That goes into the sewer.
Good. Okay, thank you. I'm done.
Okay, great. Thank you. So a couple questions that I had, particularly, and we focused on the noise for obvious reasons. But in the agenda review, there was mention of lights and having timers and dimmers and such. You guys are okay with that?
That's fine. Yeah, we'll just, we'll work through our vendor and how we can get something set up with, in regards to like having the lights being dimmed at a certain time and then having the motion sensors turned on and having that all work together in tandem. You know, we're working with them on that.
Okay. And you had no other concerns with anything else that was listed in items to consider on the agenda review? There was some.
I-
info, like-
Not that I'm aware of, no.
So Shannon,
Yes, sir.
we're still in a place where the town would like to work with them more on the noise portion of this?
Yes.
I
yes,
assume
I've
so.
Done some
Okay.
additional research today that I have not, it was at the end of the day, I haven't had a chance to share with the applicant, but it would lead me to believe that we're gonna need some additional work. Perhaps it's the central vac canister, but then we'll need additional information on that central
Okay.
vac canister as to how that operates with
Okay.
respect to that.
That makes sense. I wanted to check. So we're in a position to continue this to the June 24th.
Correct, unless there's.
Can I
any
ask
other
a question?
questions.
Absolutely. I was just going to ask if there's any more questions before we do that.
The note says owner authorization required. Is the applicant?
That was received on Friday.
That was Friday, yep.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I forgot to mention that. I apologize. For both car wash applications that came in on Friday.
Right.
Yes.
Any other questions before we make a motion second to continue? Okay. Let's get a motion and a second to continue then.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to continue the site plan approval for site improvements to existing car wash for Russell Speeders Car Wash of Connecticut LLC for Wanamassa Lane.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, so we'll move on to the second one. Russell Speeders Car Wash of Connecticut LLC, 362 Scott Swamp Road.
So this one, a different location, not too far from the other one, but also in a pre-existing Waterworks car wash. We are essentially doing the same exact thing at this wash that we did at 4 Wanamassa. The only difference here is this also has 3 self-serve bays. With the in-bay automatic, we're going to be, same thing, we'll be gutting the in-bay and gutting out all the equipment in the self-serve bays. However, the last bay closest to the row of parking will be turned into like an internal mat cleaning room. So that will have like a storefront door where guests can come in and you know, place their mats on a dry mat rack and wash them and get the dirt out, what have you. The middle 2 self-serve bays, those bays will be closed off with roll-up doors and turned into storage. And then the very middle bay closest to the main tunnel with the directional arrows going through it, that will be turned into a pass-through bay for customers coming out of the main tunnel that want to make that left-handed turn to get, you know, access the site and circulate it around to the other parking area in the back. But the improvements themselves are exactly the same.
Okay, appreciate that. Let's take a look and see if the commissioners have any questions. Matt, anything?
Just to reiterate, this is another one with the same noise concerns.
Mhm.
So staff is going to work with them on the solution.
Correct. Yes, additional information. I'm going to share some of the industry information I found today with them. And then there's additional information on these canister systems that staff needs to review.
I think for me, that's the one concern I have. So I'm good.
Okay, Bob?
Yeah, I'm all set.
Okay, Road,
Same.
Dave?
Just a question on your hours for this one. I'm seeing actually my last question for the other one was from your notes, your responses to our town planner. And on this one, it says your hours are 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Is that true?
I'm privy to 8 to 6. Unless there was something different, Phil. 8 to 6 are the hours I have, Monday to Sunday. Uh,
Yeah, I didn't, I mean, I guess those were, so per the TPZ conditions from 2000, Shannon and Bruce had indicated, comment 48, that the hours shall be limited to 7 AM to 9 PM.
Okay.
So
Oh,
which is,
that's fine.
which is a
That
favorable
just conforms to the pre-existing one, which is longer than the hours we currently have. Okay.
Yeah, so,
Okay, yeah.
so TC, is it fair to say that you are willing to maintain the same hours of operation as the previous special permits issued?
Yes,
Okay.
Which would be 8 to 6.
Well, 8 to 6 and then 7 to 9 for this one, as I understand it, right?
correct.
So I'm sorry, the other one was,
Actually, it says 8 to 8 for the other one.
Or those are based on the prior pre-existing conditions as well.
It looks like it, yes.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. We can, so I guess to revert back to 4 Wanamassa, because I'm looking at different hours from what we're operating now, but yeah, so under the existing conditions of the TPZ planning, 8 to 8 for Wanamassa, and then it was 7 to 9 for Scott Swamp.
I am
Correct.
seeing 7 to 9 on Scott Swamp for the, for your responses. But I thought in the application it was 8 to 6.
Correct. So the application documents all said 8 to 6. Staff in our engineering comments referenced, because initially I don't believe they had provided the engineering comments date from the wetlands in April.
Mhm.
So at the time, no data had been provided, so we listed what had been available from our records from the prior special permits. The applicant's narrative that they submitted with the TPZ applications indicated 8 to 6 for both stores. Thus, my TPZ agenda referenced 8 to 6 for both stores. So the applicant just needs to decide what they want to use.
So TC, this is Phil. What I'd recommend, TC, is that that the conditions of approval for the new development reference the same hours, and obviously your hours currently may be within those windows, but you should maintain what the existing hours of operation are.
Right,
More or
right.
less. Then you could obviously, from an operational standpoint, you can close earlier and open later if you'd like.
Yep, I agree.
I don't know what that means. I'm sorry.
So, okay, so Wanamassa will be 8 to 8 and Scott Swamp will be 7 to 9.
All right. And does that,
That's fine.
that aligns with our,
It's fine from an operational hour.
Okay.
And it still needs to then align from a noise ordinance
Yep.
standpoint.
okay.
It's 48 on this one. Yeah, so 7 to 9 have been the prior hours for Scott Swamp. So that's, both of those are fine. And would be fine with respect to the town's noise ordinance, which I've got up here. Because nighttime. Nighttime hours are all hours not defined as daytime, so that's, so the hours.
Yep.
That's,
So daytime hours are 7 to 9.
7 to 9. So
Saturday and 9 to 8 on Sunday. So we would just, again, these all tie then to the noise, the decibel reading. So those definitions are set in order to figure out how to best apply our decibel and the noise allowance. So.
all right. And nothing's I'm reading here, nothing's impacting the wetlands area in the northeast corner there.
Correct, Correct. So that went through and received inland wetlands approval, and as part of that discussion, they requested that just the outlet be refreshed. So there's a flared end section with a stone pad to dissipate the flow. And so the only request was to refresh that outlet pad. But there was no change to the limits of disturbance, and was approved with wetlands. Both properties were approved with inland wetlands.
Great. Thanks. No other questions for me.
Mike?
Just out of curiosity, why are you removing so many of the self-service stations?
They don't fit the existing car wash model that we have now. We have an express model where we don't do the self-serve option. The vacuums themselves are self-serve, but the washing is it's an express model type. So we just have the main tunnel building, and then customers have the option to self-vacuum if they want to.
Okay, understood. No further question.
Okay, Bruce?
No questions.
Okay, and I'm just gonna double check on the lighting here. Same question I had with the Wanamasa application. You're gonna do dimmers and all of that here too?
Correct.
Okay, great. So Shannon, we're in a similar position, right, to continue this because of the noise related
Yes, please.
questions? All right, we need a motion in a second, unless anybody else has a question.
So, yeah, this is Phil Henry. I just have a clarification. So it looks like our homework assignment on both of these applications is to react to what Shannon will probably send us on decibel readings, and then we're going to have a back and forth on information that we're going to share on the central vac with Shannon, and then hopefully at our next meeting, we have a solution to present. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
All
Thank
right,
you.
absolutely. Can we get a motion in a second? Looking at you again, Matt.
Sure. I'd like to make a motion to continue the site plan approval for site improvements to existing car wash operations for Russell Speeders Car Wash of Connecticut LLC, located at 362 Scott Swamp Road.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
very much.
everyone.
Thank you. Just for the record, item 3, KPCL LLC, doing business as Sonder Wealth Advisors, 784 Farmington Avenue. The application was withdrawn.
Thanks, Shannon. All right, and then we have one application to accept from Christopher Stevenson. Can we get a motion in a second, please?
Sure. Motion to accept application for special permit for an accessory structure in excess of 700 square feet for the property at 26 Skyline Drive, owned by Christopher Stevenson, and with a public hearing scheduled for July 8th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Thanks, everybody. All right, so under public hearing, there's one item listed, but this is simply a procedural item to continue it to the June 24th meeting. So can we get a motion in a second to do so, please?
Sure. Motion to continue the application for 10 lot subdivision of Governor's Pride off Snowberry Lane, Phase 6A in an AH zone by Farmington West Estates LTD. To continue this until June 24th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. On to planners report.
On to planners report. I have a few more than a handful of items to review with you. So first item up is Starbucks Coffee at 838 Farmington Avenue. You'll recall we did a planners report item for the facade renovation. right? So this ties more to the facade renovation. We also had a site plan, new business application in for some sidewalk and minor pavement upgrades. So this is for Starbucks. They are looking to remove what they call the siren logo for that's currently mounted to the side of the building. And obviously this banner sign that's on the south side of the building
Mhm.
will be removed and be incorporated into the improvement on the facade that'll put it up onto that, the hip. So the siren's moving from the position on the lower portion of the building up into the new gable. Same size, no illumination. I confirmed with the sign vendor. And this sign banner that had said Starbucks coffee
Mhm.
is now simply going to say Starbucks. So if everyone is in agreement, I will address this administratively and just sign off on the building permit.
Yes.
Yes. I'm
Yep.
getting
Yep.
head nods and yeses. Okay. Okay, to proceed. Okay. Next one is 500 West Farms Mall and Flip Circus. A few of you may recall that we
Mhm.
did an application for Flip Circus last summer. We had them come in for, I can't remember if we put them under new business or special permit, quite honestly. Special permit, it says right here. So as part of the condition for the special permit, it says if granted, the permit shall be limited to this user for this event and will not run with the land and will not run year to year. It as servicing of restrooms and staff RV shall occur on a regular basis to ensure clean and sanitary conditions. Servicing dumpsters shall be on a regular basis to ensure clean and sanitary condition. Water service will be coordinated with the mall and local water company. And the applicant shall adhere to Town of Farmington and West Hartford ordinances, including noise ordinance requirements for each municipality. It is the same applicant. It is Flip Circus. It's actually the same individual that I've been speaking with.
Hmm.
It's not even a new representative. The layout is the same. The hours are the same. They fully intend to comply with the same conditions from last year. I checked in with our police department regarding last year's event. There were no concerns, no issues, no calls, no nothing. So if the commission is agreeable based on all of the above, I would like permission to go ahead and sign off on both the so there's event permit and tent permit, and coordination with the fire department takes place for fire watches, and that's coordinated between Farmington and West Hartford.
Good to me.
Yeah. Where is the West Hartford line there?
It is right, so there's, if you can see,
Is that the red?
so that red line is the town line.
It's a very interesting area.
It is a very interesting area.
Hmm.
Yes, to say the least.
4 towns coming
Who are
together there or
they?
something.
So they're renting that space, I guess, from the mall, is that correct?
So they're correct. So they've come in as no different really than a kiosk, one of the kiosks inside the mall. So leasing that space, they're leasing exterior space. The parking area isn't an issue, certainly not this time of year. So that
And then
again,
moving somewhere
improved.
else.
Admittedly, the officer that had been assigned to this detail indicated it wasn't necessarily overly heavily attended last year. I think because they had to go through the permitting process, it kicked their show times into September. So there might, now that they're scheduled for July, the end, I think the last 2 weeks of July, there might be more attendance, but I was clear with the applicant that as long as there's not an issue, we should be able to continue this. Starts to be an issue, then we'll put other parameters in place or it won't be allowed. So we'll adjust accordingly as needed. But there doesn't seem to be any reason to make any adjustment at this particular point in time.
Nope, sounds good, Shannon.
Okay. All right. Okay, so that one is. Okay. Carlos, you're all set. I can see that you've signed on, so you're set. I'll follow up with you tomorrow. Right, next item is 15 Farm Springs. So Up House is the residential development that took over the Marriott at the end of Farm Springs Road. As part of the residential development, you'll recall they had obligations to provide public amenities, which included a bar, pub area and the indoor pickleball courts,
Yep.
which seem to be doing well. So in addition to that, as an amenity for their tenants, they have requested the installation of a dog park. And as part of that, when it first came in initially, staff requested that they put together a little more comprehensive plan and a little more thought out with respect to a, this isn't, there we go. If I hit the right control and alt button, it works better. So this is the dog park area that they're requesting. It's, I don't know, 40 by 50, something like that. It's not overly big. The main building is here off to the right-hand edge of the page. The tennis courts are here in the upper corner. And then the building E, that was a standalone building, is up at the top, top right off the edge of the page. So they worked, the plan was put together by LADA, and they have a detailed design plan and a very detailed operation and maintenance plan at staff's request. There's a biofilter in place that I can provide, show you the detail, as well as an area of mulch. And then there's a pet waste disposal area, and it is fenced and gated. So they have taken care of some of the primary concerns that staff had. And as part of the details, the stone trench bed is going to be filled with a 4 foot deep, 5 foot width of limestone to help neutralize the runoff, and with pea stone at the top surface, so that can then be cleaned or removed and replaced as needed. And the same, there's a detail for the mulch bed. I'm gonna take a look. Oh, there's a detail for grass. So there's a special grass. There we go, the mulch under the trees. So the same, it's a special mulch, wood fiber carpet / engineered playground mulch with limestone underneath as well. The branches are to be removed. There's some dead, it's being placed in to a partially wooded area. That's where the mulch will be. The area that had been lawn will remain lawn in this particular area, in this corner. They are going to clean. There are some dead and dying trees that are quite evident when you're out there. And then there's a separate seed mix that seems to be specific for withstanding pet traffic. The operation and maintenance plan is 2 pages long. It's fairly detailed, including owner obligations or pet owner obligations, if you will, with respect to picking up after your pet, no more than 10 dogs at a time. There's a dog waste station that's provided, children not being allowed, etc. And then there's maintenance specific to lawn care and the wooded area and the stone trench. And I did a follow-up email, although LADA did include the owners on the email to me. I specifically via email asked them to confirm via email that they have read, understand, and fully intend to implement the plan, operation, and maintenance of the dog park as outlined. And I received that written confirmation that they will implement accordingly. So Bruce and I have reviewed it. We think it covers mostly what we're going to need to for stormwater maintenance. We're considering perhaps adding in some stormwater monitoring by, twice a year for 2 years. We gotta talk about that a little further as to how we would structure that, but the rest of it is, seems relatively straightforward. It is well thought out. It actually provides a nice reference for us from a staff standpoint for moving forward. So if you're, oh, yes, go ahead.
I'm just like, this is more of like a pet relief area than a dog park.
Yes.
Cause I
It-
mean, like, if I'm
I was just
looking
gonna
at
ask the same question.
the size here,
I thought
it's
they were the
roughly
same
about the
thing.
size of this room.
Well, I think that's also why it's limited to 10 dogs.
Right. but you know
So
what I
it's
mean?
not,
Like,
you're not throwing,
but
it's not
that's-
like a
I'm going-
traditional backyard. Yeah, you're throwing the ball and having Scout go
3
the
feet.
far corner of the yard and, yes, so part of it probably depends on the size of the dog.
So this is basically an area so they can take their dogs outside to go pee and poop. This isn't you're playing with 5 or 6 dogs and
Right.
letting them stretch their legs for hours at a time. You know what I mean? That's where I'm gathering.
Yeah, further to where Bob is going with this is, it's written here that if the owners don't do it, the liability, then they don't, if the condo owners don't pick up and do anything after their dogs, the owner says it's not our responsibility, and I don't think we should allow them to evade responsibility. If the dog owners don't do it, it has to fall on somebody. It shouldn't come back at our expense, the town or whatever. They still need to be accountable for whatever goes on in that park if the owners fail to comply with the rules that they've set up.
Correct.
But it doesn't say that, in the second section, it says property owners and maintenance companies are not responsible for the actions of dogs or their owners. I think they should be.
Well, okay, I think
That
that,
like if my dog bites your dog or like.
yeah,
Oh,
Mhm.
oh, if they don't pick up after it, I guess, because they say that they're supposed to do that.
correct. So that's fine. Where'd you pick that up? I'm looking, so number 7 says dog owners are responsible for the behavior of their dogs. Aggressive dogs are not invited back.
I think it's point 2, right?
Yeah, and point 2 is really what I was reacting to, but like you're saying.
So that's again, the use at your own risk. Owners and maintenance companies are not responsible for the actions of dogs or their own. Again, I think
I think that's like Scott saying. If
from a
somebody gets bit,
behavioral standpoint, not.
Yeah, somebody jumps and knocks somebody over, or I don't know. I'm just
Correct.
trying to think of things that could happen. in a
Under
dog
eight
park.
A, maintenance lawn care, the lawn area shall be kept trimmed, neat, and debris and
waste
dog
free.
waste free at all times, so.
Right.
Correct.
And it is
Me-
well thought out and all that. I'm just like, in my mind, I'm thinking it's not really a dog park because it's not that big. It's more like a relief area.
Right.
Yes, for smaller dogs, you can probably do more, but yeah, if you've got a lab or something that wants to run and
Right.
chase all day, then.
And I'm guessing, if they're living in there, they probably don't have a big dog. It's probably a medium size, that stretches its feet 3 feet and
Correct, correct.
it wants to
I'm
go back to the
assuming that
sofa.
most of us, many complexes have a size limitation. I don't know. I'm assuming they have a size limitation.
So you were saying that this is,
The landscape architect, so the rep from LEDA is on. I can have, if we want, I can. Let me just do, allow to talk. Terry, are you there?
And they have done a good job with everything else in there. So
I am.
Okay. Size of, so can you shed light? So number 2, use at your own risk. Property owners, maintenance companies are not responsible for the actions of their dogs or their owners. I'm assuming that's behavior, but from a
Correct.
standpoint.
Correct. Whereas the picking up of the dog waste, that is, the assumption is that the property owners will do it, but ultimately, there is a time schedule for, essentially they got to go every day and make sure that it's clean.
Correct. Okay. And do you have any idea, and I know I'm asked that you perhaps don't, is there a Do the owners have a limitation on the size of dogs that are permitted on site?
I honestly don't know, but all the dogs that I have seen are relatively in the medium and small size.
Sure.
Makes sense.
Okay, that would make sense. And that's what I'm used to hearing and seeing, just having looked at apartments for other reasons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this just open to people who living at,
Correct.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Because
It's not open to the public.
okay.
And so is it access with their key or is that just the honor system?
No, I think it's just the honor system. It's not visible from any particular area. Like from the entry or anything. It's not visible from this is a pretty quiet road with very limited actual traffic.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds good to me.
Yep.
Because when you come in and you drive in, you're driving in. I gotta get my bearings.
Yep, you're right. You're coming in.
Driving in over here and you can see what we've always called the A wing. And the dog park area is going to be up in this, off to the left-hand edge. So you'd really, even as you drive in, your vision is directed to the entryway and what had been the drop-off area for the Marriott and is now the entrance to the new apartment. You'd be looking over your left shoulder to try to see
Yeah,
that dog park.
yeah. All good.
Okay, so if the intent is to approve this administratively,
Yes.
Yes.
and nods, okay. Great, thanks very much, Terry, I appreciate the help.
Thank you.
Okey doke, moving right along. 62 Spring Lane. Got, they made a request to install a storage container
Shannon,
temporarily.
can you just?
Yeah, we're getting blocked on
You're
the
getting
screen by
blocked.
the unmute, whatever that thing is.
Interesting.
I figured you weren't seeing it because you
Yeah.
were like
No, it's not.
going right along.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry about that.
No.
Okay, so Rainco is at 62 Spring Lane. I can bring up an aerial if we would like at some point. They had been before us back in 2023 to install a storage unit at the south end of their building in between their two loading doors. And for a variety of reasons have not proceeded with that project at this time. Prior to that, they also had received approval for a building addition, a 23,000 square foot building addition. So this plan up on the screen is a compilation that shows the building addition off the east side of the building and then the storage building off the south side of the building. The property owner has been in touch and apparently they plan on moving ahead with the building addition on the east side. In the interim, they would like permission to install a Connex storage box on the south end, approximately 8.5 feet wide by 40 feet long. It would be approximately 10 feet off the building. There's a small sidewalk that runs along that face of building. And it would be in place, they're thinking for about 1.5 years. It would go in starting the second quarter of 2024, right through the end of 2025, while this expansion is underway. As part of the approval for the storage building, we had requested some screening. I get the right plan here. There we go. So it's just some evergreen screening so that the building wouldn't be visible from Spring Lane. And it's just a mix of some evergreens between pine, spruce, and hemlock. So the owner's agreeable to going ahead and installing those on this side here, so it'd provide that same screening. We discussed to not bother putting any in here on the south edge. It's really not screening it from anything. There's additional trees to the south and additional industrial buildings. So, and this way too, they can move the Connex box in and out and not impede the plants they had just put in. So, so again, this seems it's long-term, temporary, long-term, temporary need while they're under construction. We have not received the building permit yet. It sounds like they're planning and getting ready to do that. So if there's no objection, I'll go ahead and we'll handle this administratively as well.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
All set?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Number 5 is the housing forum email that came out today. And I understand all of you are at work and you perhaps did not see it. We have received an email from the American Planning Association, and they are putting together a forum September 11th down in New Haven from 8:30 to 4:30, and looking to talk about affordable and diverse housing, what our roadblocks are, how we improve our housing in our communities. And they intend to put us into breakout sessions with similar sized municipalities that are kind of in similar. So there will be either myself or Garrett will be attending. And we were looking to have one of you attend and then perhaps an alternate in case there's unexpected conflict, work, family, life, etc. that comes up. So we do have to respond by the end of this week. Bruce had indicated an interest. I don't know if anyone else has an interest or thought perhaps availability even. Should the need arise, we can have an alternate. It's not necessary to have an alternate, but if we can certainly register an alternate if needed.
So are we looking for alternate or?
If you're, because I think Bruce chimed in, so like that's, yeah.
If somebody really wants to go badly, I don't mind being the alternate. I'm already an alternate, so it's a very happy
Get
label.
used to it.
Yeah.
Right.
I can go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you want to be you want to go as the designee or alternate? To make really no difference to me.
Doesn't matter to me.
I don't mind. I'll be the alternate. You
Me
can go,
too.
Roja. It really doesn't matter.
Okay. So we will list Rogia and Bruce as alternate, and then, like I said, there will be either Garrett or myself will be figuring out our schedules accordingly because we've got to register as well. We'll take care of the registration, we'll take care of the fee, and we can send calendar reminders as additional information comes in, then we'll update both of you. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, too.
Okay, last one. We got one more that I'm going to sneak in on you folks. 1684 Farmington Avenue, the best cleaners down the street. So as we're to and from town hall, or at least if you're live on the west side of town,
Mm-hmm.
you see this on a regular basis.
Mhm.
Got the noise ordinance in here like 18 times. So Best Cleaners has been vacant for quite some time. They are looking to try to do a few reservations to the building and also have the building re-tenanted. The building, interestingly enough, has no HVAC system to it. So they were looking to install a rooftop unit. Except you may see from the photo, there are electrical lines that appear in close proximity to the top of the building, and in fact, at times may even be resting on the top of the building. So Eversource will be putting them up on a stanchion, so they're off the top of the building, but because of the nature and location of the lines coming across the building and the age of this building and where they would need to structurally be able to accommodate the RTU, we can't now put the RTU on the building because it becomes a safety hazard because of the proximity to the Eversource line. And they can't slide it on the building to a far corner because the structural integrity of the building doesn't exist to support the RTU. It had to be located on kind of the main center beam of the building. So, we are now looking at, they want to put the RTU on the ground on the east side of the building, which is the Farmington Jewelers side of the building. So it's this view that you're looking at here. So they're looking to place it right on the ground next to the building and then run the two lines, the return and the chase out into this under canopy and then into the roof, that ceiling area. And in order to disperse the air. So we've got the existing building, you can see the overhang, you've got the line, the RTU. This is the existing fence and then a proposed screening fence with privacy slats. So this is an aerial look for it. So you can see the supply line, and supply line was completely escaping me, and the return. So the two ducts and the RTU. The building's approximately 17 feet from the property line. And we've got 13 feet out with the enclosure leaving approximately 4 feet to the fence. So, and they will install a 6-foot chain link fence to screen the RTU with privacy slats. And then on the supply and return lines, they're looking to install a venture clad 3M tape or adhesive so that we're not looking at a galvanized chase up. That would be a white to somewhat blend then with the exterior of the building. So we've been back and forth on this quite a bit. They've got a handful of questions left to answer for me. One is noise. Two is whether or not a mini split unit could be used instead of this ground mounted RTU, which I have not received a good answer to, and I'm suspicious it's because the RTU's been purchased already. And so we also have a question about the venture clad material, just making sure, and I've also asked our building official to look into it to ensure that from an adhesion and longevity, that it's not something that's going to peel. It looks like it's used in an exterior. It has a wide temperature range, etc. So our building official was going to look into it. I've also asked the HVAC contractor that proposed this to provide some additional information. I am also have a call into Farmington Jewelers to have a conversation with the property owner, just to have the conversation with the property owner, make sure they understand what's being considered. So this is more an FYI at this point. I think I need a little more information before I'm ready to even say, I think we're in a position to just sign off. But if I can get appropriate answers to everything, then the intent would be to handle this administratively. If we can't, then I'm going to request that they then have to do a site plan and have the conversation with you. So.
Shannon,
Okay.
I'm assuming it's gonna go on a pad?
It will be on a pad, yes. I don't know if it's, I can't remember if it's a 6 or 4-inch. It says 4-inch concrete pad, 14-inch, and then a 14-inch curb. So it's gonna be elevated so the RTU itself is elevated 18 inches, so it's generally for snow and whatnot.
Right.
So yes, there's a pad and then the curb blocking that it sits on. And then the unit itself is 41 inches high. So by the time you add that up, so then I've got 54, 58 inches and they're saying a 6 foot, so 72-inch fence, so.
I know,
It's like overkill, right?
yeah, it does seem like a little.
But
overkill.
maybe it's, I imagine dry cleaners still get really hot, right? All the machines,
Correct.
and they did.
Yeah. Because it seems like an ideal spot for a mini split,
Yeah, you just can't.
given the size of that building.
All it.
Yeah, because the building isn't very big.
No,
Yeah.
The building is not very big.
It's an expensive
and
option.
They were not going to, what has been considered, we've had a variety of inquiries, but the last one that I believe was discussed with you folks was a laundry facility.
That was,
Was doing a
I thought that was the
laundromat.
laundromat we were talking
Correct.
about, yeah.
So, which would still run warm with dryers and
Yeah.
whatnot and
Yeah.
the machinery, but. Correct.
I know, and the reason I was bringing up the pad is I know that's been there for a while. And,
The building
the
itself.
building,
Mhm.
Oh, yes.
yeah.
Yeah, it goes
and-
It looks it.
and
way back.
I know in the old days, there was an issue with some of them having some contamination in the ground. Because
Correct.
of all the chemicals, have we even?
Correct. I don't
touch
believe
that?
that's an issue
Okay.
here and that had been any cleanup work that needed to be done has been done.
Okay,
I think that, yeah, because this had all been dug up back a couple of years ago and
redone,
redone, and it's been recently repaved because they were in doing some work,
gotcha.
so.
Where do those power lines go? Is that to that building?
It does, yeah, it does service that building.
It's like a weatherhead in the back or something.
So it comes right in, it's just, and then I think there is a line that goes across into the building in the back. So it does, but it serves this building and then crosses, and there's a pole drop behind to the building to the back where the nail salon is.
Good.
Yeah. And we discussed whatever, another pole, or drop a transformer that our building official, we had electricians on it. We looked at all the other electrical options so that the RTU could stay roof mounted. And that it just wasn't
Didn't work.
possible. So for a variety of reasons, so that's why they had to look at moving the RTU.
Is it a wood roof? Wood frame roof?
I don't remember. I've got all the structural
don't-
analysis. I don't,
We're
because I have the structural
Right, yeah.
analysis for the time when they went and they were planning to mount the RTU on the roof. I'm assuming it is wood frame.
Matt's over here digging deep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
sorry. Moving on.
Okay,
I was thinking the same thing, actually. Can you sell one of those on Marketplace?
so, okay, that's the last item I have for all of you
Okay.
this
cool.
evening.
Anyone have any questions for Shannon?
We're good.
I do have one. I'm afraid I'm gonna regret asking it, but I'm gonna ask anyway. How are we doing with the polo grounds so far this season? Like, we had a major, series of hearings about that. I'm just curious.
So they have, to my knowledge, no cars and coffee, which
Okay.
that ceased last year. It has not been reinitiated to my knowledge. They have had a handful of event permits. So these are like the Hartford Healthcare Symposium.
Yep.
And the Lifestar Helicopters come. Any of those, when we get the special events, police department and myself are coordinating. We haven't had any issues.
Good?
I think I'm gonna say I haven't seen the Easter Seals Gala, which again ran a little later in the evening. They had an event 2 weeks ago that tag teamed with the Polo, and there was a puppy adoption and cars, high-end cars of some nature. And we did receive some emails from the residents with concerns and indicating it's in violation of the permit. And I've maintained that if it is tied to the polo event, it's on Saturday afternoon and it's polo, because even later in the summer, they do horses and horsepower. I'm like, we let it go. PD was aware. Apparently there was a call for that event. There was a ticket issued on that, just one.
Mhm.
So it wasn't outrageous. So, it seems like it's relatively, we've hit an equilibrium, I
Okay.
think, that
Good.
most can live with. Not everybody's happy, and that's generally a sign of a good compromise. That
Yep,
Not everybody's happy.
Right.
Not everybody got what they wanted.
yep.
So, and we continue, PD and I continue to stay in touch, which is helpful. Having the police support in this is very helpful, and the chief's been very accommodating with us. So,
Good. Thank you for the update. Appreciate that.
absolutely.
Actually, no.
Actually, I have
Oh, I started something.
another
here.
question. Sorry, before we adjourn, sorry, I'll make it quick, guys. I was just, you reminded me that, we had a complaint on West District many months ago. I was just wondering what the status of that was, because I know we got another official one from 150 New Britain, and it'll take its time to wind through the system. Whatever happened with that other one?
Oh,
From North-
complaint, the appeal.
The appeal, yeah.
Okay. I get a gazillion complaints. and
I
I'm like,
was
you're gonna
confused
Oh, yeah,
too.
not just,
Like,
specific
or
about
through appeal.
complaints.
Yeah.
No, the appeal. So the appeal for 34 West District, the official record was entered into the judicial system on Friday. And that is a list of all of the documents that we received and transmitted regarding that hearing. So that's all the application documents we received, all the agenda reviews, engineering comments, all that is out in a format for the court, and then all of the exhibits are labeled accordingly and uploaded into the system. So the deadline for that was Friday. Everything was uploaded into the system. And then the appellant has 2 months to put together her brief. We then have a month to put our brief together after that. And then she has a month for a rebuttal brief, which brings us to October. And that's as far as the schedule has gone. And then at which point then the courts will look at that, and I believe then a trial date. There's generally a pretrial management and then a trial date set. So, but in the meantime, the attorney has been clear, an appeal is just that. It's just an appeal. The approval is still valid until the court says otherwise. So, because we are doing work on West District Road, the town is in the process of milling and repaving,
Mhm.
which basin tops are being redone. And we know, right, we have no idea what the court will say, but there may be the ability to proceed in some form or fashion after the court has reviewed this. So the owner is going ahead and putting in the utility stubs just to the property line. The sewer stubs are already there. They're putting in the water service stubs. So that we then, a year or 2 years from now, when
Don't
the
have to
court
rip
decision
the
is
road.
finished,
Yeah.
we're not cutting a
Don't have to
bridge.
do it, yeah.
So it basically never comes back to us. So the appeal goes
Uh,
through the court system generally.
It goes through the court system. If the courts, it will come back to us with the court decision. So the court, if the court upholds the commission's decision, then I will inform you of such. If the court remands it back to the commission to review and look at some element of it, then you may have some additional.
So it depends on what the judge does and
Yes,
the
sir.
decision's made there, whether it comes back or it's finished
Correct.
for all time or whatever. And it takes that, what was it? I think it was 6 months ago we heard that one.
Well,
Mm.
yeah, this spring roughly,
Yeah.
so 3-4 months.
Only 3-4 months? Okay. Feels like a long time.
I know. Yes. So it takes a while, and given the appellant is representing herself, the court is more lenient with timeframes and the transmission of information.
Makes sense.
So, and I assume the 150 New Britain appeal will go the same general way with filing documents, court. and stuff?
Assuming they file a formal appeal. So the information that I had shared with you was an email and letter that had been shared with me, and since it was addressed to the commission as well,
Mhm.
I felt that I should share it with you since
Mhm.
it was, you were an addressee on it. And I shared with you the direction that our town attorney had provided, and that was then transmitted to the individual that had written the letter. To date, we have not received a formal appeal. So
Ah, okay.
if we do, and there's a time frame, there's a statutory time frame that has to be filed. So I'm not exactly sure of the dates. You got to get into the Connecticut General Statute and start counting calendar dates.
Mhm.
So, but there's a statutory time frame. He doesn't have an infinite amount of time to file that appeal, which has not been done yet. Obviously, if it is, then that document will be transmitted to you folks, so you're aware, but it would be the same process and the same philosophy, applies. The approval stands until the court says otherwise.
Understood.
And
Th- thank you, yeah.
all parties have been notified, so the Board of Ed as well, the applicant and owner.
So the only thing I was gonna ask, kind of like on the same track you were going, and I don't know if it's happened yet or not, I just can't remember. Has Hind Farm done their music on the farm? Not
Yes, I
yet,
think so.
right? There's 3 of them, isn't it?
They're July and August,
That's what it is. Okay. I was just curious how they went.
so July and August.
Cool. All right.
Good, everybody?
All good?
Yep.
Good.
All right, we got a motion, a second for the minutes from May 20th.
Like to make a motion to approve the minutes of May 20th, 2024 for Town Plan and Zoning Commission meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Meeting adjourned.